Chief Lunday, with a tremendous amount of traffic congestion that we saw this morning due to the ice and snow conditions, what advice can you give to motorists about driving on these bad roads?
One of the main things that I would like to suggest is that they start plenty early. When conditions are as they were this morning, a person cannot leave his home at the regular time and be able to get into work on time. Traffic is very slow.
What about some of the things that we can do for our automobiles? What about chains?
Chains are very good. I would recommend a person put on chains if he possibly can. That will give him some pulling power, help him to get up slippery hills. They would be very good and very helpful to them.
What about braking power with chains?
One thing about chains, if they're used properly, they're very valuable to a motorist in the type of weather that we had this morning. There are some limitations to chains. If a person understands chains, they would come in very handy for him. They will help in pulling, for him to get traction in starting. When he has to stop at the bottom of a hill or on a hill, he can pull up the hill, but some people rely on those chains also for braking power, and they give absolutely no braking power.
Well, what can we do then for brakes?
For brakes, I would advise a motorist with a conventional transmission to use his motor as a brake, driving possibly in second gear and just slowing with his motor until just before he stops, and then fan his brakes slightly. Do not apply the brakes and hold them on. In an automatic transmission, a number of those, he can shift into the low position and get some braking power with his motor.
We all have bad points in our driving, and we all may someday go into a skid. If we do happen to skid, what's the best advice you can give? What's the first thing we should do?
There has been a considerable amount of skidding this morning, and we will probably have more of it in the morning. And if a person does go into a skid, if he will get off of those brakes, and normally your skid will start when a person gets onto his brakes and doesn't let up. But if he does go into a skid, if he will, usually that is the rear end of the car coming around, if he'll turn the front of his car in the same direction that the rear end is skidding, and if possible, if he has room to give it just a little bit of gas, he can pull out of the skid.